Hello, church family. I am really glad to be with you this morning, or whenever it is for you, sharing Psalm 80. One of the reasons why is that it's so pertinent to where we're at right now. Times are troubled, and it was a troubled time for the Israelites when this one got written. Also because this psalm was written by Asaph. He wrote about a dozen psalms. And one of the things that brings home to me is that we all have a psalm. You know, the Bible talks about when we come together to have a song or a psalm, just something to share. And so I think there's times where we are overwhelmed personally. I think there's times where we're overwhelmed by God's mercy and by his generosity, sometimes just about his magnificent power and grace. But there are other times when we cry out because we're going through a very hard time, just like the Israelites in Psalm 80. So verses 1 through 7 spells out this cry for help. It was probably written during the end of the northern kingdom. Things were really bad. Israel was suffering the consequences of turning from God, and it was bad. It says in Psalm 81 through 7, "O give ear, shepherd of Israel, you who lead Joseph like a flock, you who are enthroned above the cherubim, shine forth before Ephraim and Benjamin and Manasseh. Stir up your power and come, save us. God, restore us and cause your face to shine upon us, and we will be saved, O Lord of hosts. How long will you be angry with the prayer of your people? You have fed them with the bread of tears in large measure. You make us an object of contention to our neighbors, and our enemies laugh among themselves. O God of hosts, restore us and cause your face to shine upon us, and then we'll be saved." Have you been in a time like that? What did your cry sound like? God, how did I get here? How are you going to get me out of my mess? Where are you, God? I know that some of you are here right now in times of trouble. But this cry isn't only for individuals. It really sounds like the cry of the present day church. Listen to what the Israelites are saying in verses 8 through 11. It starts off, "Things used to be so good, Lord. You removed a vine from Egypt. You drove the nations out and planted it. You cleared the ground before it and it took deep root. It filled the land. The mountains were covered with its shadow, and the cedars of God with its boughs. It was sending out its branches to the sea and its shoots to the river." These verses are an accurate description of what God did. They're a picture of how he sees his people, his intentions for them, both then and now. You see, when God plants a vineyard, he expects fruit. The fruit he expects are faithful sons and daughters raising up sons and daughters. Charles Simpson drove this home to me really hard in a book that he wrote a dozen years ago. It's called Ants, Vines, and Churches. I recommend it. I'm rereading it right now. In that book, he explains how the church, that's us, is to be like this vine in the 80th Psalm. It's not bound to a building or locations or difficult situations. This vine in Psalms 80 that God planted took deep root and filled the land. It covered mountains and had shoots that went out everywhere. I have a plant like this at my house, in my neighborhood. It's called a morning glory. And all it does is grow. Nothing gets in its way. It's unstoppable. That's how God intends for us to be. We were never supposed to be a flower pot church. In times that are weird and challenging, God has a plan and a provision for us. Jesus spells it out plainly in John 15, 1 through 8. When you see this, it's real simple. Jesus says, he's the true vine. We're the branches. He cuts off branches that bear no fruit. If we do bear fruit, he prunes us so that we can bear more fruit. Pruning can be uncomfortable. We're the branches, and we'll bear much fruit if we abide with him. Abide is another study altogether. So to keep it simple, let's just say that means get close and stay close to Jesus. If we don't remain in him, we wither and die. In verse 8, Jesus makes it entirely clear. You prove that you are his disciple by bearing much fruit. It started in Genesis 1, be fruitful and multiply, continues through to Timothy 2:2, where we teach faithful men who will teach others also. Like you might be, I've asked myself, Lord, what do we need to learn in this time as a church and me individually? For me, what I heard is it's about ministering to people. It's not about a lot of events and programs. In this time when church looks really different, the calling and purpose has never been clearer. People are in need, and we have the hope that they're looking for, the hope within us, Jesus. Pastor Mark shared the statistics recently in his pastor's update about the stunning numbers and percentages of people who are suffering from anxiety and depression and battles with suicidal thoughts. So ask the Lord, who's in my life that you want me to reach out to? Get close to the Lord, and he'll show you how you can bear much fruit. If this is where you're at right now, maybe you can take the final 4 verses of Psalm 80 and reword them for your situation and call out to the Lord with Israel. Their prayer was, come back, we beg you, O God. Bless us, see our plight, revive us to trust in you again. What's your prayer? This is my encouragement. Take deep root, go forth and bear much fruit. God bless you guys.